Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah Rodriguez, and I'm a first grade teacher in Odessa, Texas at Hayes STEAM Academy. So, for this first trick that I'm sharing with you guys, I am just wanting to share with how I get my students familiar with playlists. So, this playlist I'm going to go through is actually what I give my students for the very first playlist that they'll have at the beginning of the year. So I always start my playlist with a student with an objective, and so this is a what am I learning page. And so this objective is getting students started with learning what this slide is. So on this page, it tells them that every playlist will start with a learning slide, and that anytime they see this microphone here, that they will use that as directions so that they know to click it. And I use the same microphone through all of my playlists so they know if they see that specific microphone, they click it because it has directions and they need to listen. Most of the times I start my playlist with a step 1. And because I use this exact same template of step 1, step 2, step 3 for all my playlists, this is just like an introduction to the first video. So this video, because we use our devices a lot during blended learning, the first video that I'm having them watch is like an internet safety and device care. So it's teaching them how to be responsible with their device, and it's also showing them how most of their first steps in their playlist will look. So in ECISD, we use Seesaw. So my second step is normally like an activity based off that video from the first step. So for this activity, I'm using Seesaw, and they're just doing some more digital citizenship to practice getting started and practice using the icons, because anytime they go to an app, I put an icon there so they know that icon is Seesaw. So their activity will look like this right here on Seesaw, and that's how they find it. And then right here, I also have some more directions that talk about what they're doing on the step, and they see the microphone so they know that they're listening to that direction. And this is just reinforcing that digital citizenship for all of my students. The third step is actually to watch a video. And so what this video is explaining, but you cannot see, is blended learning journals. So I utilize a blended learning journal during my blended learning time. It's a journal that they only use during blended learning. Anytime I ask them to write something down for blended learning that's not necessarily something I already printed, I will ask them to get the journal and put it in there. So all of their blended learning activities are all found in this journal. Here's a picture of what their journal looks like. We decorated these together. This is something we had talked about beforehand, and I'm just reiterating it here. And so they will find their first blank page on all of their activities, so it goes in order. So the next step is an activity to get them used to using their journal. Anytime I ask them to use their journal, I post a picture of it so that if it's on a playlist, a choice board, whatever it's on, I put a visual picture of the journal so that they know that that's what they're getting. Along with this activity, they're doing something very basic that they can do. So this is not something that's like database or anything. This is just introducing them to using this tool that we use in our blended learning time. And so they also know that this is our classroom library. So that's where they would go to get the book that they need for this activity. This is what their journal will look like. And then every time they use their blended learning journal, they post a picture of it to Seesaw, to their journal on Seesaw. And this gives them directions on how to do that. So just like in the previous step, this gives exactly what they need. And these are all tools that we use throughout the year. So on this next step, they are just re-looking at another Seesaw activity, reinforcing those, because Seesaw is something we use all year long. This is an activity that is helping them practice using the Seesaw tools. So like knowing how to type on it, knowing how to draw, knowing how to add pictures. This specific Seesaw activity shows them how to do all of those things. But this is something that could easily be changed for whatever you use in your district or at your campus. So if you use Canva or Flip, Schoology, Google Classroom, whatever tool that you utilize for like posting work and blended learning, you could put here and have them just practicing with this tool. So this Seesaw activity they're doing is like take a picture of yourself using the microphone, explain record yourself saying your age, or it's just basic stuff like that, so that they are practicing using those tools. And so when I ask them to use the tools on Seesaw later, they already are familiar with it and know how to do it. So then on this next step, this is just giving another direction, because sometimes I ask them to go from their playlist to different apps like eSpark or iStation or stuff like this. So in this video, I'm explaining to them how to do this and just alliterating to them that this is a simple task that they know how to do. And so then they will practice it on this slide. And then finally, most of my playlists always end with an exit ticket. And so this is how their exit ticket was on this one, using their blended learning journal, writing their sentence, and then posting it to their wall. And so this is just showing them, getting them familiar with that terminology exit ticket, and that's how that step goes. So once again, this playlist is just the very first playlist I give to my students. It helps them use the tools that we do. It helps them get familiar with how playlists will look in my classroom. And it gives them several different activities that they can work on that are not necessarily really hard activities. It's just giving that practice of how to do playlists and what does a playlist look like and what are the tools that we use. And so I hope this was helpful for you.